Hello, everyone. I have a very special guest with me. Let me virtually introduce David Valadez. David, how are you? Thank you for being on my show.
I'm honored and thank you for allowing me to be here on your show. Thank you for the invite.
Now, what does your job look like? Can you please describe your job and where you work at?
I work for Univision. I work for El Gordo y la Flaca. I'm the LA based correspondent. I've been with the company for almost 15 years. In April will be 15 years. I've been with them for 14. Came on board Univision April 2006. And my function is that I'm the LA correspondent, like I stated previously. I do all the gossip, entertainment stories out of LA. I do everything. Anything that has to do with the entertainment, it's good or bad news, I'm there to report.
How did you get started into this field?
I was a child. I was a child when I started working in television. I was 9 years old. I was 9 years old when I started doing television. I honestly, I can't recall how everything came, but I just started working in television when I was 9 years old. When I was 12, I started doing things for my community cable. Back in the days when I was a child, we had it was called the Public Access Channel. I don't know if they still have them now, but back in the days, they had a public access channel, so that's where I would go and do my little segment and stuff like that. And then after that, when I was about 15 years old, I I somehow got a gig at Telemundo, and then when I was close to 18, that's when I came on board to Univision.
That's amazing. What is one word that would describe your typical workday?
It's just fun. I've always said that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. We have days that are challenging and are rough because sometimes we have to find certain information. It becomes kind of complicated. I mean, it's not every job has its perks and it has it's also its difficult things to gather. But at the end of the day, it's fun. I think I'm on a vacation. I've been on a vacation ever since I've been working. I've been on a paid vacation. That's how I consider it.
I
But
like,
I'm not in the Bahamas. I'm in LA.
but you still get to enjoy what you do, and that is amazing. Now, talking about a typical workday, what is the most challenging thing that comes within your job?
Sometimes right now with the whole pandemic, I've been home, but I've always stated this before. It's sometimes we have to give up personal gatherings, personal events. I'll share a personal experience. My grandma, my mom's mother passed away about over 10 years ago. That was when I was at Telemundo, and that was in 2003. That was the first time I was gonna go on the air. I had been wanting to do this. I was gonna go on nationwide, so I didn't get to go to my grandma's services. Um, I don't regret it because I know that my grandma would had prefer for me to do that because that was the biggest opportunity I had been waiting for. So I had to give up that. I mean, I missed big events for my family, birthday parties. And one time, my mom had a surprise birthday party for me. I had to leave that birthday party. I feel so guilty. Till this day, I still kind of feel guilty, but I had already arranged to go to work, and people were waiting for me. So I was at both places, but it was hard, and that's the challenge that I have is that I have to be away from the people I love sometimes, and because the job requires me to be there.
Why did you choose the entertainment industry over any other, and what made you choose the Spanish language over the English language industry?
I When I grew up, I mean, watched nothing but Channel 34 or Channel 52. I mean, at home we spoke Spanish. My parents spoke English, but it was primarily Spanish where we spoke at home, and we watched la novelas and noticias, and everything was in Spanish. So kind of my friends who I grew up with, they said that ever since I was a child, I always said that I wanted to be a reporter. Why the entertainment? That's a very good question. When I started in television, I was so determined to work as a news reporter. That was my thing. I was so into politics and stuff like that. But I was so young that back in the days, I was 12, 13 years old, a kid talking about serious news. It's like no one was gonna believe you. Someone told me do entertainment. You might have a higher chance to maybe land a gig, soon. And sure enough, that's how I managed to land a gig. And I tell you the truth, when I started working in entertainment, I had no clue who was who in the Spanish industry. I mean, I would meet like Paquita del Barrio or Pedro Fernandez. I don't know who were all these people. Now I can brag that I'm like I know very very well who's within our community. And why Spanish? Like I told you, Spanish is because I grew up speaking Spanish and I love and I can brag about that. My Spanish is very fluent and very good.
Now, talking about this and the entertainment industry, what did you wish you knew before you began in this industry?
Um, that I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything, but I go back to the family part. I'm a family guy. I love my family. The fact that you gotta be away from home, from your family for, like I said, for certain special moments or events and stuff like that, that's the only thing that I would go back and think, so maybe think about it. But like I said, ever since I was a child, I've always wanted to work in television.
Talking about family, what and who motivates you to continue?
Um, Honestly, I'm someone very selfish, but it's myself. It's myself. I challenge myself every day, and I always tell kids and I tell people who come up and they come and ask me, is that you have to be a perfectionist, and I'm never happy with my job. I want to do better and better and better. So I think myself. I push myself every day. Is a challenge. Also, my boss. I gotta be honest. My boss. I have a great boss. Many of my bosses, three of my bosses, they're very, they have a high standard, a quality tag on their product, and I think that they've taught me that your job has to be done the right way. And our show has been on the air for over 22 years, I think now. Yeah, I think it's over 22 years now, and it's you see that because you have a great team behind that, and that's what that taught me. So in my case, it's myself. I'm always like I challenge myself all the time. I'm perfectionist. That's one of my biggest downfalls, I can say sometimes.
Well, I personally like that, like you push yourself forward because at the end of it all, you're the reason why you're where you're at because you are the person that pushed
I'll
as
tell you
well.
I'll tell you this, and I'm being serious now. My job, I perform my job. I kid you not. If it was like my first day on the job, I kid you not. I'm being serious. I'm very perfectionist. I'll tell the camera guy like I'll bring certain microphones, bring certain camera or whatever I need. Like I go out of my way to do certain stuff.
That's amazing. Now, what limit do you think public figures should have with their followers?
What limits? I don't think there's a limit. I and myself. I mean, if you talk about myself, um, I try to engage with everybody. I mean, you reached out and I will say, hey, I go through all my messages, and I don't think there should be a limit. There's people that I'm gonna be honest, that somehow they don't have good intentions. So sometimes that's why a lot of these big celebrities or big public figures, they always have their guard up because you don't know who's approaching and you don't know what their intentions are. So that's my point of view.
Why did you choose to be private about your life and being the fact that you work in a field where everyone wants to know everything?
How do you know that? 'Cause I said it before, and you follow me,
Yes,
right? I've
yes.
actually been very private. They tell me that maybe the reason why I haven't grown my followers on social media is because I don't really expose my family out there, and that's actually a very good question. I've been very greedy, very selfish. When it comes down to my family, I was the one who chose this career. I was the one who chose this life. Like I said, it's very demanding. And I mean, I have a pleasure at the end of the day because I get to enjoy what I do and I get to inform or entertain, an audience. But in my case, I just think that it was me, the one who got involved, and it's let me pay the consequences, not my family. My family is everything for me. I mean, I'm a family guy.
Now, you have covered protests and you even did a Lakers coverage when they had their big win and their celebration. Are there ever times where you fear for your life or, especially right now that COVID is around and during that coverage with Lakers, all the people were surrounding you. Did you ever fear?
I actually stated that on the air. I don't know if you caught that as well. Raúl El Gordo asked me on the air. He's like, "Were you afraid, like, to be around? Not based about the pandemic, based on all the riots and all the celebration that went wrong, the looting and all that, vandalizing the buildings and stuff like that, I stated that I wasn't afraid. I grew up in LA. I love LA. But I was afraid of the pandemic. I am afraid. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I go out and I expose myself to big events where some people are just they're all cluttered up. That's my fear. I'm not gonna lie. I've also feared when I've gone to Mexico to do certain stories to Sinaloa, which is a as you might know, one of the one of the most dangerous towns in the world. So yeah, when I travel to Mexico, I don't want to say I fear for my life, but it makes me think about it.
Right. Wow. So talking about this year, this pandemic has been going around, and this year you also interviewed Vanessa Bryant's mother, which was something that created a bit of controversy between fans against Vanessa Bryant's mother. Now, as a reporter, do you prepare? Well, actually, you prepare your questions with a positive mindset. How do you prepare for topics that may turn out controversial?
I mean, this how it came along. It was a great story. It just somehow came into my hands, and I wasn't gonna let it go. I didn't know that the outcome was gonna be that big. I knew it was a big story, but not that big. I mean, I was in Japan. I was in Italy. I was on Inside Edition. I was in Good Morning America. The outcome. I mean, I think that there's also two sides to the story. I did reach out to Vanessa, to her people. I tried to get her side of the story. Obviously, we haven't gotten word other than the email that went public, as you remember. In this case, I mean, I think we were sharing a story that maybe many out there thought that it was a perfect family, yet they also have flaws like anybody else.
That's true. Now, talking about your interviews, each time you present your interviews, you're always at different locations, and you've been at locations such as Beverly Hills, Citadel, Plaza Mexico, etc. Now, how do you choose these locations when you go live before and after you show your segments?
That's a very good question. It all depends what the story is about. If I want to talk about a ranchero or a Mexican singer, about a banda, I think it's. I always I love LA, so I always like to show all these like landmarks in LA. So, but if we are talking about a story based on, I don't know, Hollywood or like an actor or something, I would go to Hollywood Boulevard. If we're talking about something glamorous, something fancy, that has to do with money or someone who's really wealthy or about fashion, I go to Rodeo Drive. If I want to talk about a banda singer, like I said, or an original Mexican artist, I'll go to Plaza Mexico, go to Plaza del Mariachi in East LA. I gotta talk about our people going shopping for the holidays or whatever. I'll go to Citadel and Commerce. It all depends what you're talking about. And then there's other stories that we're just trying to show LA. So I'll stand anywhere around downtown LA where you see the skyline behind. Yeah, that's how I choose my locations.
It's amazing. You kind of have to do like side research of like what location you want to go to next. That's
Yes, and
pretty
I
cool.
gotta get the permits myself too. I don't have a producer.
Oh my gosh. So if you were not working in this field, what else would you have seen yourself doing? What kind
Psychologist. I actually went to school to be a psychologist. I didn't finish my career as a psychologist. I'm gonna confess that. But everyone I recommend to go to school. I didn't finish school because I was already working and I was so busy with work. But my thing, I would love to be a psychologist for children. That's what I was going to school for, and I hope I go back and finish my degree in psychology. But yeah, I would want to be a psychologist. I've always stated that. I think that other than this, I think I'll be a psychologist.
No, you're used to being the one asking the questions. How do you feel now that I'm technically doing your job?
It feels so not weird, but it feels different because now you made me think about a lot of the things that I think myself about me and my family or personal questions. But I love it, and I love it because you're very smart and you asked very smart questions, and I caught that not because you're here. I'm being honest because I you pay attention to a lot of things. Since
Thank
when,
you.
since when have you been following me on social media?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Since when have you been following me on social media?
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah, I never noticed that. Yeah, but yeah, I've noticed you caught a lot of things.
Now, talking about, about you and the field that you're in, what advice would you give to anyone looking to go into the field professionally?
I think that regardless, talking general, regardless of going in the journalism or entertainment world, whatever you guys want to do. I mean, if you want to be a pilot, or you want to be an engineer, whatever, don't limit yourself. Don't ever limit yourself. People are gonna question you. They're gonna be like, you can't. Don't ever let anyone tell you you can't, because everything's possible. You have to always follow your dreams. I've always stated that before. Always follow your dreams and never give up, regardless of whatever is the field you're trying to go in. Like I said, if it's journalism or whatever, like just be the best at it. So I mean, you'll be like on a paid vacation like myself.
I was going into our last kind of question. Is there anything else that I have not asked you that you would like to share with your followers or with my listeners, with my audience?
It is very quick. It is very important. I when people come up to me and they ask me for advice, this the thing that I tell them that is what sort of thing God has taken me where I'm at nowadays. There's three steps that I've done. One of them, like I just said right now, you have to visualize what you want, regardless of what you want to do. Just visualize it, and eventually, and work hard for it. Obviously, whatever you want to do, visualize it. Second of all, is choose your battles. Don't burn bridges. Choose your battles, because you never know. You might work at a corporation, and you give someone else a hard time or whatever, just trying to. I mean, especially when people are young, it's just the ego that gets to them or whatever. They get promoted to a position. So try not to put down anyone. Try not to choose your not to burn your bridges, and choose your battles. That's very important, because you never know in the long run who's going to be above you. I mean, and that's very important. Sometimes there's like certain things just for your ego, just let it go. Just let it go. If it's not going to impact you or have any damage on you, let it go. And the third one, which is really important, I mean, anywhere you go, whoever's your supervisor, whoever's your boss, that's your boss for a reason. He's the boss for a reason. Follow directions and you'll be very successful. That's very important. Remember who's your boss, even if you don't like it. But hey, that person, he or she, was assigned a position for a reason, and they're your supervisor, your boss, or whatever manager. So just follow directions, and they'll take you far. Trust me.
Wow. Everyone, this is David Valadez. David, would you like to share your social media platforms?
Of course, yeah. Follow me on Instagram under Dave Valadez. It's at Dave Valadez, or also you could just type my name, David or David Valadez on Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook under David Valadez, and I'm on Twitter, but I'm not really on Twitter. I'm kind of a dorky when it comes to Twitter, and also the new what's the new one? TikTok. I have a TikTok. I never use it. But yeah, on Instagram, you'll find me. Anyone who has any question, please feel free to DM. I might take a day or two to reply, but hey, go for it.
And he does get back to you. Otherwise, he wouldn't be my special guest here.
No,
This is
thank
David Valadez. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And this is Tatis Iolani. You never know. Come get the way a sorprender next. Thank you.